Welcome to All In Sports Talk. I am your host, Mario Pagliato. Some of our listeners sent us a video, so make sure you watch the whole show. Now, last week there was no European club soccer because of the European qualifiers for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. So let's see how some of the big teams fared in their opening fixtures. Germany versus Norway. Germany won easily 3-0. That team is a fine old machine, just like a Mercedes-Benz. What can I say? Also, Italy took on Israel. Italy won 3-1, but it was not a convincing victory for Italy. They were slow-paced, no rhythm in the midfield. Second half, Chiellini picked up an unnecessary red card. And their next match against Spain is going to be tough, so I hope they turn things around. As you can tell from behind me, I'm Italian. I want them to do good. And Spain left their mark in their opening fixture against Liechtenstein, winning 8-0 with that tiki-taka offense. UEFA Euro 2016 host France took on Belarus, which ended in a 0-0 draw. The richest team in Europe, Belgium, beat Cyprus 3-0 with a pair of goals from Lukaku. Surprise here though, Switzerland beat UEFA Euro 2016 champions Portugal 2-0. Sweden and Netherlands ended in a 1-1 draw. Now let's go to Europe's top leagues this week and see what some of the big teams did. Some upsets here. First off, in Germany, Leipzig beat Borussia Dortmund 1-0. Hope I said that name right. In Spain, another upset. Barcelona, yes, I said Barcelona, lost 2-1 to CD Alaves. Atletico de Madrid took on last place Celta Vigo, beating them 4-0. Not much of a surprise there. First place Real Madrid took on Osasuna, beating them 5-2 with Ronaldo scoring his first goal of the season. Now in Italy, defending champions and first place Juventus took on Sassuolo, beating them 3-1 with a pair of goals from the 70 million euro transfer Gonzalo Higuain. Second place Napoli took on Sicilian side Palermo, beating them 3-0 with a pair of goals from Caglion. Udinese and Milan. As you can tell from behind me, I'm a Milan fan. It was a boring contest from both teams. There was no creativity in the midfield for either teams. Udinese picked up the late win with winning 1-0. They got 6 points in their last two games, which is good for them because at the end of the season, it probably fare good for them, whether they face relegation or not. For Milan, what can I say? If you're not spending money, you're not winning games unless you're Leicester City, who wins with chemistry. Speaking of Leicester City, they got mauled this weekend 4-1, the English champions, by Liverpool. They got one win in their first three matches. You know, it's still early on in the season. They could probably turn things around, obviously. Next, probably game of the week, the Manchester derby between Manchester City and Manchester United. Manchester City won 2-1, taking all the bragging rights. Also, Arsenal took on Southampton, and they were down the whole game. They came back at the end, scoring a late winner in the 90th minute, penalty shot to win the game 2-1. Now, for the MMA freaks out there, last night was the freak show in Cleveland, UFC 203. I say freak show because former WWE superstar CM Punk made his MMA debut against MMA up-and-comer Mickey Gall. And the fight ended the way every MMA fan thought it was going to end. In the first 10 seconds, Mickey Gall took him down, then a minute later, he choked him out. Also, the main event, Cleveland's own UFC heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic took on MMA legend, K1 champion, Dream champion, Strikeforce heavyweight champion, Alistair Overeem for the UFC heavyweight championship. It was a first-round slobber knocker. Either man could have got knocked out, but the homeboy got the job done, knocked out Overeem, retained his title in his hometown, which was nice. Now, we're going to take you over to Eric, where he'll give you all the NFL coverage.
Hi everyone, I'm Elsa Frozen, and I'm here with...
Oh, sorry, we're on air. Just check my fantasy scores on the Phantom Network app. I'm Ice Cold Eric from Halftime with Kane and Ice and the End Game.
So today we'll be talking about NFL football and fantasy football.
Fantasy?
Ice. Not that kind of fantasy. Fantasy football.
And of course, with today being 9/11, September 11th, we'll never forget 2001. So let's take a moment of silence to remember the victims: New York City, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania. All right, we're back. As you know, the season kicked off Thursday night, a thrilling game. Super Bowl rematch. Carolina Panthers, Denver Broncos faced off. Unfortunately for a lot of people, one I know in particular, the Denver Broncos came out on top. So, Elsa, I know you're a huge Carolina Panther fan. How do you feel about the start of the season?
Well, I think they got off to a bad start, but I think they can get back on track if Cam starts the dab again.
Okay. Thank you for that expert analysis. So let's get into week 1. Green Bay's going to Jacksonville. Buffalo's playing the Baltimore Ravens. Chicago takes on Houston with their new quarterback. Cleveland and Philadelphia both fielding new quarterbacks. Philadelphia with the rookie quarterback. Cleveland trying to reclaim RG3's career. What's going to happen? And of course you have the huge matchup. The Arizona Cardinals trying to return to prominence after last season's debacle in Carolina. They're taking on the New England Patriots, who are without Gronk and, of course, Tom Brady because of Deflategate. It's going to be an exciting week. So why don't we take a quick break and look and see what today's scores are for the early game.
All right, we're back.
And as you can tell, a lot of exciting games and action going on in the NFL.
And I know a lot of you guys are not just interested in football, but also fantasy football. So let's check the Fan Up Network app to see who our fantasy stars are for the week so far.
All right, so as you can tell, a lot of great stuff going on this week in the NFL. Stay tuned in. But please don't forget, every week, we'll be coming at you every Sunday. All right, so this is just the first of our YouTube shows. So we appreciate you tuning in. Also, make sure you check out allinsportstalk.com. You can listen to our shows live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm part of Halftime with Kane and Ice. I'm Ice. My partner Daryl Kane will be on every Wednesday with me, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you tune in for that show. And also we have a fantastic podcast that's going to come at you once or twice a month with Nicole Monique called The End Game. All right, you guys will really love that. But make sure you tune in every Wednesday, 8 p.m., Halftime with Kane and Ice. It's enlightening, encouraging, educational, entertaining. Every great thing that starts with E is on this show. So make sure you tune in, okay? And make sure you follow us on YouTube and subscribe to this channel.
And where can they find you on social media?
Oh, great question, Elsa. You can follow us on Twitter at Kane_Ice, CANE_ICE. Interact with us there. You can find us on Facebook at Halftime with Kane and Ice. You can also find us on Instagram under Fan Up Network. We post things there. And All In Sports Talk on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. All right, so make sure you check us out on all those places. And you can find us on the internet at caneice.com. So there are plenty of places you can interact with us and become part of the show. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great week, people.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the new All In Sports Talk Network's YouTube channel. I'm one of the few hosts, Akeem Richens, and if you're an active listener of my show, you know how my saying goes already. If you don't know me, get to know me. This is Everything Sports. How y'all doing, man? I'm glad that we finally, I know y'all probably like, finally we make this happen. We launch our own YouTube channel. Subscribe. We have a plethora of hosts that's very knowledgeable in the variety of sports we like to talk about. All In Network YouTube channel. Please subscribe and follow us. And we chose to come out with this launch on a very significant date, 9/11. So I'm going to be the first, and I believe the rest of my cohorts on the network would agree. We like to send our deepest sympathies and deepest condolences to everybody that was affected and lost lives on 9/11 2002, 14 years ago. I mean, I remember myself, I was in high school. I was a little kid about to graduate and try to go to college. And I just remember kids walking and running up every hallway that you can think of, all the stairs, coming in and out the classrooms, going ballistic and crying. So it's a very significant day to the people of New York as well as the people around the world, and we send our condolences. It's football Sunday. It's a lot of different things going on today. We got 9/11. We got the All In Sports Network YouTube launch. We got the first Sunday of Football Sunday in 6-7 months or so. So I'm excited. It's a very special day all around for everybody that loves football and loves the All In Sports Network. I have to briefly talk about a couple of things that's happened leading up to NFL Football Sunday. And that's Colin Kaepernick. We all know the situation going on with the San Francisco 49ers backup quarterback now. He's not the starter no more. We're not talking about football and Colin Kaepernick no more. We're talking about what he did for the people that he feels strongly about, and that was taking the knee during the national anthem before his preseason game. And Colin Kaepernick has started a trend. Brandon Marshall, as we know, Thursday Night Football, the kickoff of the NFL season. Brandon Marshall, not the bootleg Brandon Marshall. I know a lot of people was coming to me and telling me the bootleg Brandon Marshall took a knee. There's no bootleg and there's no authentic Brandon Marshalls. That's both their names. I'm talking about the Brandon Marshall, the linebacker of the Denver Broncos. He decided to take a knee and evidently lost an endorsement deal with the Air Force Academy. And I said, wow, how much other NFL players or sports celebrities are willing to now take a knee behind Kaepernick, because this is a trend that Kaepernick has started. It started with Brandon Marshall. We know, if I'm not mistaken, the collegiate football team, Indiana State, they took a knee. A lot of their players took a knee. So it's an obvious trend that has started throughout sports. I can't even say the NFL, but I will say throughout sports. And I want to know, and I want to ask the fans, the people, because I'm a fan just like you are, how much more people, celebrities, football players, basketball players, so forth and so on, are willing to take a knee now that they've seen an NFL player affected by this. He lost an endorsement deal, and when you lose endorsement deals, you lose the most important thing to sports figures around the world, and that's money. And we all know the sports athletes, they love money. This is the reason why they have agents. This is the reason why they accept or turn down contracts, because of money situations. And if you lose endorsement deals, how much other players is willing to sacrifice an endorsement deal? How much players are willing to sacrifice losing money to take a stance in what they really believe in? So that's what I'm interested to see coming up Football Sunday. Who else is going to stand behind Kaepernick and stand behind this trend that's going on and take this knee and risk losing money and losing certain battles along their personal life by taking a stance for people? So it's a very interesting display of actions going on around the sports venues today, and we're going to see what happens with the other people participating in their sports activities. Now, a lot of people's been talking about Cam Newton, what happened Thursday night with the Denver Broncos defense. We've seen a lot of guys talk about it's excessive and it's roughing the passer, that a lot of players, Tom Brady's the main example, wouldn't get away with hitting Tom Brady like they did Cam Newton. And they feel, a lot of media experts and a lot of media guys feel that it's because Cam Newton is 6'6" and 260 pounds, so he's not going to get the same calls. I even heard the head coach Ron Rivera use Shaquille O'Neal as an example, and I like the example. I just think that it's more to it. I think that it's not necessarily the size of the player. I think it's the mentality and how the player performs. Running backs in general do not get a penalty or penalties a Tom Brady would get, or Peyton Manning would get, or even Aaron Rodgers or Joe Flacco would get. More stationary quarterbacks would get. I believe this is more indictment of a running quarterback, not the size, just the running quarterback, the mentality of the quarterback, from Cam Newton, who is 6'6", 260, to RG3, who is 5'10", 200 pounds. They all get hit hard. They all get hit in ways that we wouldn't want to see a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning get hit. But that is because of their style of play. I'm a firm believer that if you play a certain way, you will get calls a certain way. So I'm not going to sit here and justify Cam Newton as being the victim here. When you have a style of play, you have to take certain consequences, right, wrong, or indifferent. We all know the world isn't fair already. If the world isn't fair, there's nothing we can do about that. And that's the same applies to everything else, and that's football. The world isn't fair. Football isn't fair. If you're a running quarterback and you want to use your legs and you want to use your mobility, you have to take certain consequences that comes along with it, no matter the size. So Cam Newton, RG3, Tyrod Taylor, those type of guys, Russell Wilson, they're not going to get the same calls as a Ben Roethlisberger, a Tom Brady, a Joe Flacco, a Aaron Rodgers. And that's just the point I want to make. That's the point I want to put out there. There's been a lot of different reasons and speculations to why Cam Newton is not getting the call, and a lot of people like to refer to his size. And I believe that has a small percentage, but that is not the main factor. So y'all let me know, the fans, the people. I'm a fan just like you a fan. I'm just the voice for the fans. So I appreciate your time. Look me up every Monday night, the Everything Sports Podcast on the All In Network. Look up everybody on the All In Sports Talk Network family. We have a great group of hosts and hostess. We have excellent women leading their separate shows as well. So tune in. Tune into the Everything Sports Podcast. Tune into the All In Sports Network. And I can't wait to hear your comments, hear your feedbacks, and let's get this brand expanded. Until next time.
Let's see what some of the big matchups are to look forward to next week. In the NFL, Thursday night, you got an AFC East divisional showdown between the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. Sunday at 1 o'clock, another divisional showdown in the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys versus the Washington Redskins. I want to see that matchup between Kirk Cousins and rookie quarterback Dak Prescott. And my personal favorite, America's Game of the Week, in my opinion, an AFC North showdown between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers, probably two of the most exciting offenses in the NFL. Champions League kicks off this week. Some match to look forward to are Barcelona versus Celtic, Paris Saint-Germain versus Arsenal. That's going to be a thriller. And, of course, another big match, Italian champions Juventus versus the back-to-back-to-back UEFA Europa champions Sevilla. Also in England next week, you got Chelsea versus Liverpool, and Liverpool's coming off a huge win over the English champions Leicester City. Now, some MMA news for some MMA freaks out there. Unfortunately, UFC 205 in Madison Square Garden, Robbie Lawler and Donald Cerrone is not happening. Lawler did pull out, but I've heard there's big rumors of who will replace him, and one of those rumors are Stockton's own, representing the 209, Nick Diaz, man. This is All In Sports Talk. Thanks for listening. Now it's time to show off how all of you go all in. Enjoy.
Whoa! Alrighty, y'all, so first we gotta change into our Panthers shirt. Alright, Panthers pride, y'all. Then we gotta change into our socks. I wore these when the Panthers beat the Eagles. Get your game face on.